Welcome to the ESI phone training for the ePhone3 model phone presented by Preferred Data Voice Networks. Please reference the trifold handout, Getting Started with the ePhone3 from ESI, which can be found on our website. It's 2 pages and looks like this. You may also have received a customized instruction sheet for your company or agency on Preferred Data Voice Networks letterhead that looks like this. The ePhone3 has 4 pages of 7 buttons. You'll notice that it actually has 8 buttons on the sides, but the bottom right is a little page jump or shift key. So then there are 7 buttons available for programming. When idle, your screen will show the date and time, your extension number on the top left. When on a call, you will see the incoming caller's caller ID and the various states of call, including elapsed time of call. At the bottom of the display, you'll see the number of missed calls. So I don't know if you can see that there's a little 3 above a handset with a kind of a red indicator that it was missed. And you might also see the number of new voicemail messages that are labeled MWI. And there is a voicemail light to indicate new voicemail messages. To see and clear the missed calls, if you have a view button, you can press it, or you can press your history button, which will show your call logs. And you can see who has called you, either internal or external calls to and from your phone. So the programmable feature keys can be programmed for a feature, an extension on your system, or speed dial numbers. The soft keys are the 4 keys located underneath the display that show different options depending on how you are using the phone at the time. The navigation keys are used to move your cursor and select options within the display. The center button is the OK button. You can use the volume controls to control when you're on handset, the handset volume. If you're on speaker, you can use the volume to control the speaker. And when your phone is idle, the volume sets the ringtone on your phone. To make a call, simply start dialing the number. If you want to backspace, use the delete button. The digits will not go out until you press dial, or sometimes it times out. So if I wait a minute, it'll time out, or I can press dial to make a call. When I'm on a phone, I can pick up to use the handset. And if I'm on the handset, to return to the speaker, I press the speaker button on the bottom right and place the handset back in the cradle. I think I just hung up on that call, but that's because I did it twice. Let's try that again. So I'm on a handset call, pick up to go to speaker, started with speaker, pick up to go to handset, press the speaker again, and place the handset back in the cradle. When on a call, you can mute yourself to the caller by pressing the mute button on the bottom of the keypad underneath the 0. So if you can see here, I know it's hard to see on this recording, but it says mute, and there's a little microphone with a line through it indicating that I'm muted. So I can mute myself on handset or on speaker, either way. When your phone is ringing, you will see the incoming caller's phone number and caller ID information. So you can either pick up the handset, press the speaker button, or just press answer. And then from here, obviously, you can pick up the handset to answer the call. If you want to place the call on hold, you press the hold key located under the display on the soft key, or this hold button here is the same thing. So if you press hold, you'll see a little pause icon on your display. The caller hears on hold music, And then to return to the call, just press resume. When your phone is ringing, you'll see the soft keys change to the options of answer, divert, and reject. If you press reject, your caller will be sent immediately to your voicemail. So you're just sending it straight on without answering it. If you press divert, you can enter another extension number to send the call immediately to, for example, a front desk or something like that. If you're on a call and a second call starts to come through, I don't know if you can really see this, but on the screen, you'll see a split screen. So you'll see your first call that you're talking on, and the second call lights up the line 2 button with a blinking green light. So you can press answer here to answer your second call, and that immediately places your first call on hold. If you press hold for your current call, then you can press either line 1 or line 2, line 1 being the original call, and resume to return to one of those calls. So I've pressed line 1, I end my call with them, and then I can press resume to return to the second caller and continue on with that conversation. One of the great things about the ESI eSIP server is that the users can do their own button programming. So I've put on the screen a little description of how to do the button programming. You're going to press and hold the button, and then you can fill in the information. So the type is memory key. You're going to go to telephone field, enter the extension number, go to name field and enter the name using the dial pad. And I call that like old school texting. So you're going to press the number for the letter you want, 1 time for the first letter, 2 times for the second letter, 3 times for the third letter. And you can use the navigation buttons to backspace. You're going to scroll using your navigation button down and use to go to the right and stop. Okay, so you have options of BLF attended transfer or BLF blind transfer, and I'll show you how they both work. And then we're going to go to the pickup field and enter *04 in the extension number so that the button can be used as a one-touch pickup to that extension, and then save. All of this information can be found on the handouts on our letterhead, and there's a reference to it also on the trifold handout. So on the phone itself, let's just do a little demo. As I mentioned, this bottom right button, I'm going to push exit because I'm in a getting some notifications for voicemail and missed call. So on my bottom right button, it's a page jump or shift key. So I'm going to use that to go to available buttons that I have to program. So I can do that 4 different times, 4 different screens. And you can do by the way, you can do the page jump or shift key anytime, whether your phone is idle or if you're on a call. It does not affect anything on your call. So I'm going to press it. I'm going to find an available button, press and hold the button to program. Whoops. Let's try this one. Okay. So on the very top, I know you can't see it very well on the screen. That's why I showed it on the little slide, but it says type memory key, and I'm going to use my navigation button down to go to telephone, and I'm going to put in the extension number. Okay, and then I'm going to go down again, and I'm going to put in the name. So I'm going to put in Lee. So 5, 3 times for L, and then 3 twice for E, and twice again for E. I'm going to leave this field as auto, and then I'm going to go to this field, which is the subtype, and go to the right until I see BLF AX for attended transfer. Go down one more time and do *04 and the same extension number, 1100, to do the pickup and save. So I'll see a little saved show up on my screen, and then it goes back to idle. So now if I have a call, so I'm just going to call out. And I want to send it to Lee. Okay, if I were in my original screen view here, then I can press the page jump button to go to screen 2 where I've got my button for Lee. Press the button for Lee. And then I don't have anything connected to that right now, but I can wait for him to answer and then press X for again. So that's an attended transfer. I'm giving him the chance to tell me whether he wants that call. Okay, so let's try that again. So if I send a call to Lee on an attended transfer and he says he doesn't want it, so I'm going to press his button. Then if we have a discussion, he says, look, I'm busy right now. I can't take the call. Can you give it to somebody else or can you handle it? I press end and then resume to return to my caller. Then I can just send it to somebody else or handle it in a different way. So I have another button on my system, which is, whoops, let's get back to this main view, which is set up as a blind transfer for Ben. So if I have a call and I want to transfer it to him and I've set it up as a blind transfer on my button, I'm going to press Ben. It sends direct to him and I'm completely off of the call. So it really depends on how you are set up in your office environment as to whether you want to announce the calls and be able to take them back and handle them in a different way, or if you just want to answer and transfer, answer and transfer. If you want to send a button, I'm sorry, if you want to send a call to somebody that you don't have a button for, then you can just, once you have the caller on the line, I'm making a call here. Okay, you're going to press XFR or the transfer button. So the button underneath XFR on the soft key or that transfer button. Dial the extension you want to send to, and then you can do dial. And then at this point, you have the chance to announce it's always going to be attended, and you can just press transfer to send or end to return to your caller and then resume. So if I do XFR 1100, dial, and then XFR, it's kind of like a blind transfer. It just takes another pressing the XFR button. Oh, if you've got buttons for people programmed, then you can see when they're available because the lights will be lit in green. If they're on a call, the light will be red. And if they're in do not disturb, the light is going to be blinking red. So to call somebody on intercom, if you've got a button for that person, you can just press the button to call them. Or you can dial their extension.
Person at extension 11.
Another option that is very popular is to make transfer a call to an offsite number. So you're going to follow the same procedure as transferring to an inside extension. Here we go. Okay. So I've got my first caller on the line. So from here, I'm going to press also the XFR, dial the second number. And the first caller, by the way, is just placed on hold. Wait for that second person to answer. Hey, I'm doing a conference call. Okay, so then when that second person answers, I press XFR again. And the two parties are connected. Thank you. And I am completely off the call. So I have done a transfer with announce to an offsite number. Similarly, you might want to do a three-way call where you stay on that call. So I'm going to call my first number, or it could be inbound or outbound. So I've called my first number. If I press conference and dial that second number, wait for them to answer. Your first party is just on hold. Hey, okay, then I press conference again, and I'm on a conference call or a three-way call. And on the screen here, my incoming call or outgoing phone number is showing up for both parties, and it's a split screen. So if I press hold, I can press hold and resume to both parties, or I can press split and return to one or the other party. Your phone may have a do not disturb button. Sometimes they're located on the soft keys, and sometimes they're located on the programmable feature keys. It just depends on how your system is set up. This one has the do not disturb here on a programmable feature key. So if I press that, then I will have a little icon. It's actually showing up right here in red that says D&D, and any call to my extension will go straight to voicemail, including inter-office calls. So if you receive a call and talk to the person and determine that it's for someone in your office that maybe is away from their desk, or maybe the person has told you that they need to get this call, or you need to ask them about it. You don't want to send it to their extension and let it go to voicemail. It's something that needs to be handled quickly or immediately. You can park the call. So here on this phone, you're going to have, typically on the front screen, you're going to have a park option. So when you press park, the system will verbally tell you the park orbit. So it'll let you know where the call is parked. On this system, it happens to start with 60. Most of our systems start with 6900. It just depends on what has been set up. So the caller is placed on hold as soon as you park them. And then you let the person for whom the call is parked know what park orbit it's at. And they just dial that extension from any phone on the system plus pound, and they can retrieve the call. So it's a great way to send calls around on your system without letting them go to voicemail. If you park a call and the person does not retrieve the call, then it will recall back to your phone after a set amount of time. It's typically a little bit longer than a transfer time. So maybe 30 seconds, 60 seconds. It depends on how that's set up in the system. And we can always change that park recall time. But it's another great application is parking a call for yourself. So if you are working at your desk and you need to go and do something for this caller somewhere else in your office, you can press park, remember the park orbit number, and go to any other phone and answer, retrieve that call from that other phone on the system. So call park is a great feature to use. So if you need to do a page, you can put your caller on hold, and a lot of times paging and parking go hand in hand, by the way. So you can press page, and that is going to page all of the phones on the system, or it might be something different depending on how you have it programmed, but page is a one-way announcement. So if you're paging on your system, you might have a button that calls all the phones. You might have a button that calls certain phones in a certain area. We might have page zone set up, or you might have a button that calls phones and or speakers. So there's a lot of options for paging on the system. Okay, I want to mention a little bit about call forwarding. So call forwarding is an option that we're all very familiar with, of how to send your, or what that means, which is to send all calls from your phone to another extension on the system or to an offsite number. So to call forward from your phone, and you do have to program the call forwarding from the phone set itself. If you want forwarding set remotely, you need to contact us so we can assist with that. So you press menu at your phone, and then you're going to use your navigation keys to scroll to number 2 features and OK. And then it's number 1 is call forwarding. So you press OK. It comes up with it might say line 1 or your name or your extension number. So you say, okay. And then it gives you the options for call forwarding: unconditional, busy, or no answer. The most commonly used is unconditional, which means that every call that comes to your phone is going to immediately bounce to your call forwarding destination. Busy would be if you're on a call, typically, and then no answer would be if you want the calls to ring, maybe ring your phone for a couple of rings and then go off to the forwarding destination. So I'm going to select unconditional by pressing OK. And then it comes up with disabled. So I use my right navigation button to scroll to enabled. And then I use my navigation button to go down. And I've already set this up. So mine is set with an extension number 1100. So I can either leave that, or I can delete on this using my soft keys and put in the phone number that I want to send to. So I put in our 924-2700 and save. And now my phone is forwarded to an offsite phone number. So if I pick up and hang up the handset, I'm returned to the main screen. And then on the very top of the display is a little handset with an arrow indicating that this phone is forwarded. So if anybody calls to my extension or is transferred to my extension or calls the direct number to my extension, they're going to be forwarded off to another, this offsite number that I've programmed. I will also see that in my call history. It will tell me calls that have been forwarded, and it kind of gives me some information on my screen. So to uncall forward my phone, I'm going to go through the same procedure: menu, features, call forward, my extension, unconditional, and then use the right-hand navigation to go to disabled, saved, save, and then that's it. So I've uncall forwarded my phone. By the way, when you're forwarding to an offsite number, you're going to enter that number however you would dial it. So if it's a local number, you can enter the 7 digits. If it's a long distance number, enter the 10 digits or 1 in the number. I would recommend doing some test calls once you've forwarded your phone just to make sure it's been entered correctly. You can change the ringtones on your phone also by using the menu. Scroll to settings, which is number 3, and then basic, which is number 1. Scroll down to number 3, ring settings, and then here you can press 1. I'm sorry. Let's go back to this. Ring settings, ring type. Let's see. Got hung up there. Menu, sorry, settings, basic, ring settings, and then number 2, ring type. So I'm going to select that. And then I can use my little arrow keys to listen to the different ringings. I personally like ring 6 on this phone. So I'm going to press save to save. And then you can push back a bunch of times, but I just like to pick up and hang up to go back to the main screen. All right, let's talk a little bit about voicemail. I'm sharing the ESI eSIP voicemail quick reference guide. So this is basically a picture of all of the flowcharts that you will hear when you're in your voicemail listening to the options. So when you're listening to messages, you'll hear these options: 5 to repeat, 7 to delete, 8 to forward, 9 to save. And then here's your mailbox options: 0, which gives you the ways to set up your greetings name and password. So let's just go through a quick setup of voicemail. So if you want to call the voicemail from your phone, you're going to press the button that says voicemail. And it actually is just a little shortcut code. And then it's prompting you for your password. So initially your password is just going to be the exact same number as your extension, and then pound. So then when you enter that, if this is the first time using your mailbox, then you'll hear some prompts to do a little tutorial, which is to enter your new password and then re-enter your new password and then record your name. So then your voicemail is technically set up from that point. And if you want to leave it as is, anybody who calls is going to hear ring, ring, ring. And if you don't answer, it says, please leave a message for, and then your name recording. So it's super generic. If you would like to do a little bit more warm and fuzzy greeting, then let me share my screen so you can see. So I'm sharing one that's kind of a typical greeting just to help you get, if you're fuzzy and haven't done this in a while, it's super easy. This is your name and your company, and whatever else you want to say. You can give options for other extensions or any other information that you want to give out there. So to set up your greeting, when you're in your mailbox, if you've gone through the tutorial, it says your mailbox is set up and ready for use. Okay, so then I'm just going to go back into my mailbox because I wasn't in it before. So either coming into your mailbox by pressing the voicemail button in your extension, or after your mailbox is set up and ready for use, you're going to press 0 for mailbox options, 1 for greeting, and then 1 for unavailable greeting. And then she'll give you a tone, you say your message, and then press the pound key. Okay, so then after that, your mailbox is set up and ready for use. when you have mailbox voicemail messages, you'll see on the screen, and I know it's hard to make out on this video, but it says MW1 and how many new messages you have. And also this button here will light in red. So to listen to those messages from your phone, you can either press the view, which will call the voicemail and prompt you for your your password. You can press the voicemail button here also, same thing. So if you don't see view on your screen, then you can press voicemail and enter your password followed by the pound sign. And then you can listen to your messages. You can press 7 to delete, 8 to forward, 9 to save. There's some fast forwarding options and stuff like that. So there's some different options there. Oh, and then some companies, depending on whether we have been given access to your email server and network, you may also receive your voicemail messages in an email format. So if it comes across to your, and that is a setting also in the system as to whether it will notify you on the phone and the email or just on the email. But if it's coming to your email, it's going to look something like this. It'll have the incoming callers, caller ID information, and then the from is going to be some kind of internal email address that we've set up on your email. And then it's a WAV file. So you can double click to listen to it. You can listen to it on your iPhone or Android if you have your email there. And you can also obviously forward because it's an email. This concludes the ESI ePhone3 phone user instruction video presented by Preferred Data Voice Networks. Please let us know if you have any questions about your system as far as how to use it, or if you have any issues, service issues, we're here to help. Our phone number is 225-924-2700, or you can visit our website at pdvn.net. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.